In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Franklin Township Environmental Commission was made by posting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and posted on the township website and electronically transmitted to the officially designated newspapers indicating that the meeting would take place at 7 p.m. on June 26th. Okay, that's that. Then we do the chairman's remarks. I really didn't get anything special in the last 2 weeks. We had a meeting and so there's really no special. Oh, that was second. We do roll call first.
Yes.
Okay, I got that here. Okay. Walter Andrews.
Here.
Kay Chase. Here. Easy. Not here. Jessica Johnson.
Here.
Stan.
Here.
Oral Schmidt's not here. Robin's not here. Maria.
Here.
I'm here. And Terry's not here. And Ed's not here. So maybe somebody else will. Oh, here comes somebody. Here it comes. Easy.
Real noises.
Okay, we'll just change that. Yes. Good time. Okay. No, really fun. Okay, so as I said, we don't have a report, anything special going on. We've all been busy doing a lot of things. Approval of the minutes from the June 5th meeting.
I move that we,
Maria has something that you want to change.
Yes, where he says Maria was at the youth fair, at the youth center, it has to be replaced for, I was at the Franklin Middle School at the community fair.
The man said that it was held at the youth center, and it wasn't.
I can send it by email.
It was held at the middle school.
That's all. But the rest is all correct.
I think that's the only change to the minutes. Okay. We have a vote. Middle school?
By Hamilton Street, the one that used to be the high school.
Okay. With that, John?
I move that we accept the minutes with the changes.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's the minutes. This is the point where we open the public, ask for motion to open the floor to...
I move that we open meeting to the public.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting public, nothing?
I move that we close the meeting to the public.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Closed to the public. Correspondence. There's two letters. One from regarding the property at 390 Davidson Avenue, flood hazard verification application. The applicant is the Magyar Bank. I don't know if they're planning something at that intersection, right where Somerset Road and New Brunswick Road, that corner. But maybe they're financing or they're actually going to do something. So that's that one. And then there's one on, they call it Lincoln Highway, which is Road 27. Yeah, Road 27. And Shore Drive, they were looking for a letter of interpretation on wetlands. I have the other page, I'm not sure. I got the survey, but that's about all it said. There was a letter with it, and it didn't give any clues. Which was an LLC.
Okay, I think I know where it is now. Yeah, there is a stream
Ah, that's why they need that.
approximately here,
Yeah.
so they would need it.
Well, if something happens, we'll get plans, but that can be down the road. With the,
It's a ditch. Yeah, that may even be that the stream is here. We will see when we get there.
Yeah. Down the road, that'll be something. So that's the two correspondence letters. There is, then we're up to site plan. And easy to
No,
do.
there's no email.
There was no email. That was the other part of correspondence.
We did quickly review it, but we had Robin's comments too.
Yeah, and I did see my Robin, I think back to Robin, because this one, I'll just introduce it. This is one that we looked at before. It is applicant is 31 Voorhees LLC, again on Somerset Street, and the intersection with Voorhees. It's one where it's a mixed use, be commercial on the first floor, and a parking garage, and then apartments above the public business. And they look down on the roof of the parking garage, the apartments. And easy, but you can explain it.
Maybe you can-
So you have that one sheet? That's, this one.
Let's go to plans again.
Yeah, it's this one, I think. Oh, this one has the trees.
Well, I think the tree schedule is not correct.
It is correct.
It is correct in
I
one.
have it, yeah, I went through
Did you
it.
get all 26?
Yes. What this one has, we can go, the apartments are here and here, and the garage is here. And on the plans, they show in the middle of this, the green roof. That the roof of the garage would be like a terrace with grass on it, and they count it as being part of the water management system. That's like a big one. If you open this up, it shows right in the center.
Remember that it was here, right?
We looked at this
Yeah.
before, but, this
So
one.
what is new?
Well, I think they explained why they wanted it. I hadn't seen it before. That this whole area that they submitted shows all the changes that they made. And it goes through in several paragraphs about the green roof and how it's going to help the water management and such. And we haven't really seen that before. This one here, or this one. This one says green roof right here in the center. And it has the slopes to follow the drainage from it. And also, it has, on one of them, the whole thing about the layers of the green roof, which are 12 inches of soil and polypropylene, all that stuff at the bottom. It really do the way it's supposed to be done. It's the first time we've seen a real one.
So they calculated what is the retention capacity?
Yeah, that's what I'm here. Yeah. It's up in the.
And does it meet some requirement of some sort?
They were using that as part of the water management system. So that the staff, I guess, going to approve it. You have to meet certain amount of, in the regular stuff, you have to have 80% removal of solids. And I think this does a good job of that. Now, there may be stuff off the roof on the other side, on the apartment side, that may drain into the existing storm, water drains. But stuff in the center is going to be caught by the grass. And there's a
Well,
whole.
it shouldn't have any particulates in it if it's just rain.
Right. Or coming off the roof of the apartment house, maybe.
Yeah, well, there's a little drainage plan that shows
It is. We'll do that in this corner. Lisa, you look at this, remember that?
I don't recollect that reason. I don't remember doing it, but I want to take it today and write up the report. Is it okay?
Sure.
Write up the report.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to look at it.
Oh, okay.
I remember looking at this first round.
Yeah. Mixed use for the content package. This is the staff report.
That's from
This is from the DNR.
DNR,
Yeah, from the
Ground
canal,
Commission.
which I've never seen this before from one of these. but
Probably came in as
they're
a
probably,
first
yeah,
submission.
yeah. So,
We often don't get those.
well, here, study area green roof. This sub-drainage area consists of the proposed green roof that is to be constructed on the second story of the proposed building. Stormwater runoff from the sub-drainage area will infiltrate through the top layer of the green roof, identified as growing medium. The drainage layer situated underneath the growing medium will collect and convey stormwater runoff to a series of roof leaders. The runoff that comes out of the roof leaders will be tributary to the on-site stormwater collection and conveyance system, which will ultimately discharge runoff to the existing stormwater management system situated within Somerset Street. This is from the DNR canal. The sub-drainage area consists of the entire site except the green roof. So land cover, including open space side, so we did have to look at this carefully.
They do.
Yeah. And so they gave, they gave the okay. The commission requires all proposed schools after pavement, so forth, reduction of post-construction load, total suspended solids, rate of 80%, that's my number, see the 80% somewhere. And, includes construction, so they give it the okay.
So I'll give a shot at it today.
Okay, very good.
Send the whole group.
Yes, that'd be good.
Okay. Can I take these with you?
Yes. I recycle these when I get home.
You would drop them back here?
No, I put them in recycling.
Oh, I just go drop it in the office.
I used to do the same thing, but I was, yeah. But things aside, people have to, I need a whole stack by the garbage can.
So the township doesn't recycle?
Evidently not. I mean, I've seen them stack that. When I
They do eventually.
yeah, maybe that pallet is just for recycling. Until the pallet, yeah, we don't have to. But I take it home, because I put it in my recycling bin.
Christine has said after the planning board meeting, they want me to take those to the site.
Okay.
I generally keep even the environmental commission set of plans
Right.
until we hear of the application.
Ah.
That means I've got a lot of plans that we can follow.
And this is the environmental assessment.
Has seen several versions of the B9 warehouse, of course.
Yeah, they mentioned it here, well, his is only up to four and up, but, it was mentioned here, a couple of places about the green roof also. So,
Okay.
the first one will actually get, unless the land, so the lady gets approved sooner. The one in Western Canal Road?
Yeah.
Good, that's the
It actually was supposed to be heard at the first meeting in June, but we didn't have a quorum. And because another application had been held over from the previous meeting, we probably weren't going to get to it anyway. So I'm not sure, but we might hear it at the second meeting in July. We might have a special meeting on the following, the fourth week of July.
July 5th is planning board is meeting on the B9 warehouse.
Yeah.
And this, environmental says this is going to be presented July 5th to the planning board. It's not going to be presented on July 5th,
No.
because that whole session is going to be B9, the warehouse. So this will go, maybe this will be on the 26th. I don't know, maybe they'll do both.
Yeah, because we have to hear the EWA application, what you know is 400 and 600 Atrium Drive.
Oh, that was also.
That was what was pushed over from, I guess it was the second meeting in May. And I said that at that first meeting in June, that we probably wouldn't get to Bolas, and then we didn't get anything done. That required 7 people being absent, did not have a quorum. First time I can ever remember the planning board didn't have a quorum.
Well, B9 warehouse has been taking up a lot of the motion. I don't think it's going to be finished July 5th.
Well, particularly not since, Stuart Lieberman was supplying witnesses' testimony.
Right. That's the committee, citizens committee.
So what did they do that was different?
Let me see. 26 copies, just the copies. It says, general site movement conducting coordinates. March 30th, they did a review letter prepared by Robert Russell, and it says, about the fees and as testimony will be provided July 5th, Township of Franklin regarding the overall unit density calculations for the development area. Also, open space calculations. So we're finding also the ventilation and parking and security of the parking structure. They've added that in. Testimony regarding the signage. That's all stuff that they so that they've added those into the original one, because they weren't there originally. And then the stuff about, general notes about design and placement of traffic signs. They also want to widen Voorhees Avenue to provide on-street parking. So these are the things that have been revised. ADA parking. And then, let's see, they've added notes to the plan, to the sheets on various things. And additional trees. There are 3 types of trees that they're going to add. They've taken down 26 trees and adding 26 trees. Now, Robin thought that the candleberry was not a tree but a shrub, but on the diagram, they have the height of the thing that they're planting, the candleberry, 8 feet, and it should grow to 25 to 30 feet. That's not a shrub.
No.
It's got to be a tree. And so, that's why, I added up all the...
Is the calculation all correct? Because
Yeah.
typically when they knock down certain number of trees, some of them have high girths. So
Yeah, they added all that. I mean, this is a developed site. There's an office building that, or a forklift repair shop that they're gonna take down. So it's already been cleared before. But there were some trees left which they're gonna replant. And on that one drawing, they got all that hedges and trees and such. And, I had to decipher the code on the drawing, because I had one listed in the table as SCF, but it was Candace, there was 2 Cs, and then the red part. The diagram had CC. Then I figured I finally could count it up, it was 6 of those.
yeah,
So here it is. This is the trees going in there, and then there's trees over here as well, along here. P.S. You can see my numbers, I was right on the, because I did the count. So this is just shrubs, the shrubs are in the front, and then there's trees and shrubs mixed in on the side. And of course, they'll have the grass here, there's no trees growing in the middle. There's the paper.
This original, so I think this is the original.
I think it is.
There's no landscape plan.
Here it is, this one.
So it's that.
There's that. It was on here. Let's just go with the paper. That's what it is. So this was added then, when it was on the first one. Here's the table. And these top 3 were the trees, and then there's shrubs, and then there's grass and all that stuff. It's these 3 trees. So one, 2, here's these. Here, the bigger ones here, and then there's some on that side. numbering as I went. Yeah.
This is the 20,
Well, right over here, here's CC instead of CFB. It's really this, these two, here's the CC. So there's, and then these are the ACs. That's this one.
which is the
Yeah.
service plan.
Right, right. And then the other one, the PS is over on that side.
Yeah. One's on Cherry,
Yeah, there's a cherry,
not very large, yeah.
yeah. Well, here's the heights. That's why I was looking at the heights.
Yeah.
Look at it back.
So this is the stuff on Somerset Street, right?
Here's Somerset Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is, Voorhees is over here.
Shrunk it, but, because the original plan, it didn't seem as if it was room enough for trees on the Voorhees front.
This is shrubs over here, this is all shrubs over the front.
Yeah.
And those are replacing the trees that are removed.
Yeah, this is the parking garage, the ground level. So I don't know if those are gonna be stores or offices, but it's commercial offices.
This should be the 27 front, because that's where the commercial tenants
Ah,
are.
right, okay, yeah,
They do show trees there.
yeah.
And then this would be Voorhees, and then this is just
So
the edge of the
here's
property.
the entrance,
Yeah, from Voorhees.
right.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing is shrubs, up even right to the edges here.
Yeah.
This is
There's nothing.
ringway rock material under the building. So this be,
Trespass.
yeah, narrow grass.
Okay, there is a stairwell.
Yeah. And the elevator lobby's over here.
I'm wary of these buildings that expect everybody to use the elevator, and I say, well, what happens when the elevator goes out of order, not if, but when.
Yeah, you're coming off the street here, and here's the entrance to the elevator lobby. And this is just
Come in out of the garage.
Yes,
Access.
what's on that side, in that corner? Well, that's the property of the office.
Well, they have to have stairwells.
Yeah, gotta be said.
Fire code.
Yeah. Oh, this letter over there.
Yeah.
Right. Now, they have handicap parking in the garage. Are they required to have EV charging?
I don't think it's addressed.
No. It's not addressed in this, for sure.
No, in.
Oh, no, it's not, oh, I see. Because it's a mixed use. It's not a warehouse or manufacturing.
Yeah, I think, no, so
I
did
still
we
think
have,
they ought to have EV chargers.
did we have comments previously that they didn't have enough?
I think we did. If, I don't have the car, I know, Kara's got it. We've got-
Do they have any?
No, here's ADA parking.
So this might not show any chargers.
Yeah. They got the floor. Just the first floor.
It's only upper floors, I guess, over down.
Maybe it is. I don't remember seeing it. That may be a comment that we made on the first one.
Do we need me to reiterate it?
I think we could, yeah.
So how many parking spots do we have?
119,
How many?
119.
119 parking spaces.
Okay,
So
so,
at least 6, right?
so it has to be 15 and 6 years, right? Because this is
So
residential.
we have no idling signs, at least one.
Really, we don't
Okay,
know,
that's
No.
6
6 at
now,
least, yeah.
then 6 for the next, so 12 must be ready, will be ready.
ready, yeah.
So 6 built and 12 will be ready. and-
Okay. Proposed make-ready EV parking space.
Make ready, they've got it made.
Yeah.
How many?
Well, here's proposed electric vehicle charging station.
It is there.
Well, they're gonna have 6 of them up there.
Okay, the number
That's what
six.
it is, that's,
And then
yeah.
12 additional must be ready, right?
Yeah. That's what it says, make ready, so here's it, yeah. So that, I think we did put that in.
Yeah, and then they say 11 make-ready.
Because
must be 12.
That's not for down the road,
Must be 12.
yeah.
What would they gain if they have 11? I mean, what is this saving here? All the chargers come as a dual chargers anyway. I mean, you can buy single, yes, you can, but I don't know how much you save.
It's interesting that the chargers are in the parking garage, which means that they'll be available to all the units. That's not gonna be billed to the units individually. That's our problem in our walk.
Well, the question is how is it going to be built? Because it will be on separate meter.
Yeah,
But I suppose that it will be one of the charger network provider. It will be meter. It will
it would be needed, and then just people that use it will get billed.
Well, if it's charge point, if they were charge point, then there would be a credit card.
I know that, yeah. But, you know, for all of these, you pay a premium for the service for being able to bill your customers. So it would be much better if it's managed by the owner, property owner.
Yeah.
But of course they don't want to.
Well, everyone is gonna be owners on site, because Royal shows the office on there. It says that's the management office. So, I mean, with this many apartments, you need a management office. There'll be activities, that kind of thing. We have, I mean, we're a lot bigger, but we have 4 people in our office. So, I think we've, done what we wanted on this one, on the review, okay. Easy, you go back now. Okay, you're right.
Tad, you mentioned that there is 11 ready. What if one of the ready is written in one of the disabled parking?
No, they're in different areas.
Make-ready over here. They say there was in this corner,
And there is no charging there, right?
there's no charging there.
So they're up here.
I wonder why one is missing.
I mean, why it isn't 12, right?
Right.
Because some of you, how many have to be made
I
ready?
think it's the whole side.
Both sides, you're right.
Here, 112, 119.
One
Six,
day.
That's like
7, 8,
120.
9, 10, 11, yeah. Yeah, so they've got 6 that will be charging stations now in this corner, and then the rest of the side will be ready.
That's it, so they're gonna run the cable from one side of the building.
Yeah, well,
It's just something that I would not recommend anyway, but there is no regulation. The reason is that if you have spacing in between, the cable can reach to additional parking spots.
Right.
So you can broaden 15% to up to 60 if you
Oh.
space it out.
Oh, you space it out, yeah.
Yeah. If you have a dual charger here, which is today serving 2
Right.
parking spots, with, you know, if you park your electric vehicles here as well, and the ports are here,
Or you say the cable
cord
can reach.
can actually reach.
Right.
Right, so when, this is a good when, level 2 charging, right?
Right.
And you don't want to move the vehicle, you want to move the cord. So that owner of the vehicle that is currently charging doesn't have to vacate the spot to allow someone else to charge.
Because it can go, the
Because
host can reach
the next
another one.
person can unplug it when they see it's not charging and plug the other vehicle,
Ah, yeah.
right? So stacking them next to each other, it's kind of easy from the installation viewpoint, but it's not future-proofing. And particularly for the center spots, right?
Or the ones in the middle, yeah.
You can actually have one charger surrounded by 4 parking spots.
Right.
And that's what you can get 4 capabilities, because you don't need to move the vehicles,
Right, right.
right? But it's actually for residential, it's not really
Not really,
actionable,
no.
because, so for workplace charging, that's what I'm recommending.
Ah, but for the
Because
residential,
for
yeah.
workplace charging for 8 hours,
Right.
you can have 4 vehicles and you can advise the employees, you will come in the morning, you plug it, the second person at 10 a.m., the
Right.
third person at
Yeah, just
1,
yeah.
and the last person 2 or 3. And so everybody has about 2.5 hours. And you just move the cord, you don't
Right.
move the vehicles,
Right.
so you have less disruption.
Yeah.
And 2 hours for charging,
Is enough? Oh, on a level 2, yeah.
as a, you know, employee benefit,
Yeah.
that's more than enough. For residential, chances are people will be charging overnight.
Yes. So,
So,
yeah, so they're not
if
gonna
you
do
plug
the,
it around 10 p.m.,
time to go to work, it's all done.
you're not gonna
You're not gonna do
replace
it.
at 2 a.m., oh, we can charge.
No, you're not gonna
And of
do
course,
that.
you're using low-cost electricity when it's overnight.
Right.
Okay, we'll get all this one out.
To my work, it's programmed to only, to finish by, say, 6 or 7 a.m., but only start when it needs to start. To ensure that it, as much as possible, uses the early morning hours.
So the EV ordinance didn't go that far, but for modern electric vehicles, if people are comfortable plugging it when they have about 25%, it may take easily 8 hours to get to 80, 90%. You don't want to charge more than that because the battery is unhealthy. And then it means that you don't need to plug it every night. And that way you can serve not just 15% of residents, but 30 or even 45 or even 60. It depends on what the driving needs. But the 15%.
If on a given day, you foresee, say, driving to Atlantic City or even further, then you want to be fully charged.
Correct,
That
correct.
morning, even if you were still half charged in the evening before.
That's all the hotels that can be planned, but the state is fighting at various levels and as well as the road charging, rapid charging, so that's doable as well. Recently I went to Niagara Falls with my Chevy and I was able to charge at Tesla supercharger because Tesla equipped their superchargers with Magic Dock, which has an adapter in New York State as a test bed. So New York State has lots of options for rapid charging. It was an awesome experience. I don't know.
How long it takes?
Well, it depends on what is the state of charge, how much charge you want to get, what is the brand. The Chevy, my Chevy charges at 55 kilowatts, which is among the slowest charging modern electric vehicles. And I pulled when it was 18%. I charged it to 50% because I knew that 50% is enough to get me where I want to go so that I can charge again. And so from 18 to 50% it was 20 minutes, something like that.
Okay, well, that completes our plan review. The next section is new business, and the first item is environmental law, partnership with the Trails Advisory Committee. I don't know, maybe that was, Arnold, was that Arnold, or who was that?
Sounds like Arnold.
Yeah.
It sounds like Arnold.
Yeah.
So,
He's not here, so we'll skip it.
Okay, well, I was running out of ink, so it's in pink and it's hard to read without my glasses. And then it says, report from the subcommittees. So the communications committee had no
Did
communication.
anyone get a chance to look at the website and see if there was any other edits that need to be made? I usually like to take feedback from the group and then I run through the changes I've requested and I note to Tara what's been accomplished and what has
How many
not.
times did you ask us?
Well, no, we're supposed to quarterly review it.
Oh, quarterly, because I feel like you are very guilty.
We need to, listen, if we want to remain engaging, we need to stay fresh and check on things periodically, so.
I hear it.
Just as a comment, I was looking at the Cultural Arts Council website, and there's no way to contact anybody from that one. There's no email addresses, there's nothing, no phone numbers.
Well, we have that, so we're not worried about us.
That's what they're putting out. The event that was is.
It could be better, yeah, but it could still be better, so, I mean,
I like when you click on the boxes, meetings, agendas,
Yeah.
you have it very organized.
It's really nice, it's.
all right, I still think it needs more, but, okay.
I just wonder how much better we are than the council.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they're starting to put these, like, links that look like pictorial boxes up, which I think makes it a little more they're trying, they're just very slow. I don't have a suggested post, but I do think it's worthwhile to consider, with all the storms that have been coming up way earlier than normal, today's
Right?
good.
I tried the time, I tried, I did what I could.
518, between 518 and Canals closed because of wires down. So I think it might be worth it to, I would like to survey the town members to see who is in favor of undergrounding utilities. I think the storms are like going to inspire people to want that more, because the more and more it happens and the more times there's wires down and the more times they lose internet and power and God knows what else, then...
All I want is a canal walk from underground.
Yes, new facilities, but I'm talking about undergrounding existing infrastructure.
Yeah.
And we already sent, a couple of years ago, I had written a letter to the BPU with Robin, asking for a long-term study, because they've only done short-term cost analysis. They haven't done a long-term savings analysis. They say, oh, it's going to cost you X amount. Okay, but how much is it going to save you in 20 years? They don't do that, and we've asked for them to do that. Maybe it's something where we ask the town people, are they interested in doing that study, and is that something the town would fund? And then if we do our own study and prove it show it to the BPU and say you need to underground these utilities, I don't know. I'd like to get, BPU's not going to listen to us.
Well,
They're not going to listen to us, but the town might do its own study if the town members are interested enough in doing it. It's clearly something that works because all new structures have it. All new communities have it, so clearly there's merit to it. But at what point are you going to, like, where Ted and I live, please God, no, that's not going to be developed into a new community. So, that infrastructure is going to need to be addressed at some point. How long are they going to keep ignoring it?
there was a power failure last night by us. It went out
We get it all the time.
1 o'clock.
We talk about it all the time.
Now,
Yeah.
we have a generator.
We don't have a generator. Well, we do, it's a propane one, but I hate that. And I hate that I should have to spend, 5 figures putting in a system that can, take care of everything I need for my farm. We have all those solar panels that become rendered useless. It's silly.
In Canal Walk, there are a fair number of generators. Some special use, like maybe a family has oxygen for, whoever lives there, they need to keep that running. One lady does baking in her basement and has all the refrigerators.
Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. I think I don't know how everybody feels about it, but I think the only way we're going to get the BPU to actually pay attention is if we do our own study, and I think the only way the town's gonna do our own study is if the townspeople want it.
Right, right.
So the question is that something we could even do? Maybe this is a Tara question, we have to
This
deal with
is
this.
a Tara question, and also to talk to Safi. I mean, the mayor's got to be working on having an art show in the end of September for the seniors to be held here in the lobby out here. We took him around and saw some of the paintings. He does all sorts of different things. If we talk to the mayor, maybe we can push it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's, I want to find, I think the way to do it is to get all of the people in the town to survey or vote or come together and say this is something we want. You're not gonna, I think, yeah, we can go to the mayor and campaign, but I think it's gonna be a waste of our time.
That would probably, I mean, the BPU is finally getting to talk to public service about changing the streetlights to LEDs. That's why we did a letter in support of that about 2 or 3 months ago. And that was something we talked about in 2019. And here it is, 23. And then actually, maybe it'll actually happen in 25. If we're lucky.
Okay, so I guess then I'll follow up to Sarah
Okay.
separately, is that okay?
That's fine.
And then I did, this isn't necessarily communication, but I guess it kind of is, but, I think we need to, because we opened to the public twice, and there's no time limit, and people can say their piece, and then we answer, and then it becomes this conversation that's
Right.
really not what it's meant to be. It's meant to be more like it is at, like when they do school board and things like that, where there's a timer,
Yeah.
so that someone has to get up, they have 3 minutes or 5 minutes, or whatever it is we decide it needs to be, and they have to say their piece, and that's it, and there's no volley conversation. I think it would just be a more effective use of our time, because I think a lot of times we lose an hour or more to having like a volley conversation, which really isn't efficient. And I just think it'd be a much more efficient public session if we were to have timed sessions for each speaker, and
We
they
did
would get
that
to speak
when-
once.
When the room was full with the 40 people, we did that. We
Right,
did-
it was not, it's not,
No, when it was full, we didn't have any meeting.
No.
Yeah.
I remember that.
we didn't have a meeting, he's right.
Yeah.
We couldn't because we didn't have any real structure to the public session,
Right.
which I think, from a communication standpoint, isn't efficient. So I'd like to propose that we put together some sort of
Policy. We could-
policy or structure. I don't know if there's any township regulations, you look like you have something to say.
Yeah, I think it's really, I don't think there's any regulation, it's just how individual boards run it. And they vary it depending, if there's not many people there, you can speak for 5 minutes. If there's a lot of people, you speak for 3 minutes.
And we're very-
But actually, the way you waste time is when we start engaging
Right.
with
Back and forth.
speakers. And so it's, to some extent, it's, we should need
Right,
to
but-
restrict ourselves.
But I also think then speakers being able to, they get up, and then they get up again, and again, and again, and again. That's, make your point,
Yeah.
we'll address it, and then that's it. I think it's just inefficient, and I mean, everybody has a right to say what they need to say. It's also not fair if we do have a room of 40 people, if the same 4 people are getting up 5 or 6 times. Then maybe those
Well,
other, the 5 people don't necessarily.
The other rule is you only can speak once.
Yeah, well,
That would be-
that should be a thing. You can only speak once, you get X amount of minutes, make your point. I think it's a much more efficient use of everyone's time, and I think it's a more fair environment for everybody to be able to say their piece, as opposed to it being just a, if we want to all go, like, have a bitch session, that's great, we can do that. Let's go get a beer at the Stage House and do it, I just think it's inefficient the way it is. So, I'd like to propose that we put in a more structured, I motion that we put in a more structured public session where there is, and communications can come up with the particulars, but where there's, you can get up once, speaking is timed, and we only open to the public once.
Well, no, we do have Does the planning board have open and closing like we have on our agenda? We have two public sessions.
They have a public session at the beginning for
Right.
comments not related to the agenda item.
Right, and then they do it at the end.
There's very rarely that anybody speaks in that period, and then for each plan that comes up, there is a public session.
Oh, so if you have 2 or 3 plans, you're gonna get 2 or 3 public
Yeah,
sessions.
but usually you don't get much comment from the public.
But we're not the planning board. Yeah, well, I actually think the school board model is a good one, because I think some of the feedback that we get is comparable to what we would get from parents coming into a school board meeting. What does,
What does the BOE do?
what does the council do?
Oh, the town council.
No, they have usually a 3-minute limit.
Yes, sir.
And then you get up once.
Speak once,
Yeah, I think that should be our baseline.
yeah.
I second.
And they quite often have multiple people speaking, you know. But, of course, in B9, there's also, as the general planning board zoning board thing, if people are represented by a lawyer, only the lawyer gets to speak. Those people cannot speak individually.
Well, that's because it's like class action, right?
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Trouble is, if the lawyer is Lieberman, he does run on. He's much better than he used to be, though.
So I motioned that we keep a baseline similar to the council's. Stan seconded. Any thirds?
You also said that there will be one public session.
One public session.
Which was the reason why I was hesitating. But I
No,
agree.
I think the
Should
point
we
of
limit
having
that
two
one
public
session
sessions
to 20 minutes or
is...
something?
No, it's one session, each person gets to speak
No,
once
they-
and
they-
for a
they
certain
need to
amount of
put it-
time.
The reason for having two public sessions is
We want to
so
have
that in the
maybe
second
more
session,
people
the
that
public can comment on
But I'm getting,
what
yeah.
the commission has
So why don't we just do it at the end? And do it
discussed.
once?
Okay.
Yeah, we can do it at the
But
end.
then- So you have one at the beginning for people who come in with something they want to bring up then.
Like natural, like we talked about the smokestack.
Okay.
You know,
And then you have one at the end for people who want to comment on what they've heard us do.
So then, we should qualify those public sessions. We open to public session for comment on what's been discussed versus we just open to public session. Because then what ends up happening is people just repeat themselves.
sometimes people come late and miss the first session.
Well, should have been on time. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't think, particularly the second session, I don't think we've wasted much time there.
Oh, I
But we
disagree.
have had people
Disagree.
speak then who didn't speak earlier.
They were very long.
That's not good.
I disagree. There's no structure to them. It's
It's actually, for us, it would be better if we have one public session at the end, because we are in better position. We have our business done.
Yeah. Create a business standard.
And who's to say that people can't comment or raise something? We already agreed, we're not gonna have that volley back and forth. So it's not a conversation. If
That would
somebody's,
stop people from doing it.
right, if somebody's raising something new, like the smokestack issue, they can come, they can raise it. We can take it into account and maybe it becomes new business for the next meeting, but it's not something to discuss in the moment, right? That becomes, you don't agree with me?
I don't think that we wasted much time by having a second public session.
Does anyone else feel that way?
I'd go along with a 3-minute time limit and once per session. And a further thing could be to say, well, you can't, while you can speak again in the second session, you can't address the same topic that you addressed at the first
I can get
session.
on board with that, that's what I'm saying, qualify what the session is for. This public session is for any new items that EC may want to consider in advance of our next meeting, or should be aware of. And then, second public session specifically is to comment on the work that's been discussed by the EC at tonight's
That has to
meeting.
go along.
And if people start to discuss something that's not, then we have to say, I'm sorry, this is not the forum for that.
Yeah.
But we need to be firm about it.
Well, if somebody's come late, I wouldn't want them speaking then. But usually our speakers come at the beginning. I have no,
I think the extenuating circumstances, we can deal with ad hoc, but I think as a general rule, we have to create a structure, and we have to be firm about it because we're not firm about it.
So if somebody comes late for public session in council, can they speak later on the day?
well, that's what I would say. If they miss, if somebody comes late and misses the first session, they can speak on any topic at the second session.
They are.
I wouldn't even advertise that. I would,
Yeah, well, so that's the same thing then. We don't want to advertise that,
Right,
but we can
but-
be kind in the moment
Yeah.
and deal with it on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
But as a general rule, you're meant to discuss new items at the first session and comment at the second session. I still think one session is enough. I don't think, as an advisory board, we have enough critical, I think our work is critical, but I think when compared to a decision-making committee, it's a little bit different.
the Open Space Committee has 2 sessions, if I remember right. One very rural. You would probably know this. You remember this?
I don't remember if they
You
were.
don't remember, yeah.
We don't have public.
Okay, so we all agree,
I was gonna say.
We all
how
agree.
many people attend?
we all agree 3 minutes, you can get up 1 time per session,
One time is good.
what do we call that? Oration?
Well, when the time limit, they have a big timer in the county, in the council.
Right, but people didn't know that they can only get up 1 time, what are we calling that? Is it one oration?
Single presentation.
Single presentation. So 3-minute single presentation, and Ted's saying 2 sessions.
Yeah.
I still think 1 session is more than enough.
I'd like to do 2 sessions, but.
I know, but that's what I'm trying to understand, like,
Yeah.
how do you feel? How do you feel? Like, not everybody's saying
Well,
something.
I feel sometimes
We want to do
it's
one session at a time.
too long,
Yeah.
9:30, after 9:45.
But we should finish our agenda, that's the most important. If we don't get to our agenda, the most of the times.
Yeah.
Right, because of the public session. Walter?
I know Mayor Creamer is very much for public involvement, and
Yes.
whatever hoops we have to jump through without him criticizing us. I think 2 sessions is there, but we can perhaps modify so that it doesn't run over. But to take one away might be something.
Well, we had none for a long time. All right, well, so,
Want to have a vote?
well, there's 3 for 2 sessions.
I'm okay with 1 session, but as long as we finish the agenda item, that's most important.
Yeah, I'm okay with 1.
I want 1, but but then I also taking into account the mayor.
Yeah. I think if you label the sessions, we should label the sessions. One session for general and the other for.
How do you 3 feel if we were to label the sessions to be very clearly delineated, that the first session is for new items for the EC to consider in advance of the next session, and the second session is strictly for comment only on the work that's been done? Would you then be okay with 2 sessions?
Yeah, and the reason being, at least for a committee, we'll be forced to finish our agenda on time to allow public to speak.
Yeah.
Well, not that we'll be forced to finish it on time, but
But we will be at least, compelled to moving the time.
we'll have enough time.
Audience will be compelled to complete the first session on time so that they can actually ask in the second session.
Okay,
So the first session is just to not, there's a new business, not agenda.
What takes time is when we have extended discussion of a site plan.
Yeah.
Very large.
I mean, we're lucky we don't have one site plan.
That does take a lot of time, but more often than not, in the past few months, the public session has dominated the meetings.
Well,
And then it's impeded our ability to do work.
This is partly because of B9.
Yes. That's a major, that's been a major improvement, has been the.
Right, but
work
it's,
stuff.
but it's not, yes. But that's not the justification for public session to dominate the meeting and the work being done. Sorry, Ted. I'm being professional, but I'm being firm. Okay, so then, 3 minutes, single presentation, 2 sessions. First session, new items for EC consideration. Second session, comment on EC work that day. So a motion that we modify our public session to be 2 sessions. First session for new items for EC consideration only. Second session for comment on EC work that day. Each public member has 3 minutes and a single presentation per session.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
Aye.
All right.
And as we go along, let's take note of what happens in the second session.
Yeah.
And if it becomes too extended, we could.
Or the first session, for that matter.
Or the first session.
Have to see
The
how
first
much-
session is the traditional one, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm not, listen, I'm all for hearing what the people have to say, but I do think there's a, I don't know, I would never go to a public session and continue to get up over and over again. I think it would be disrespectful to the group that's holding that
Well,
meeting.
I don't think people do that on the town council, it's limited to one.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, I think it's disrespectful to the group here that's trying to get some work done. Okay, thank you.
Maria, do you have anything on the education subcommittee?
No, that was, I think now, Stan has an event, he's planning an event, so he's leading now the next event.
What am I leading?
The library?
Library?
We have to do a session on the library with.
Oh, yeah, with Heather.
Yeah, with Heather.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can give an update. So I contacted Heather about the invitation. She was excited, and she also noted that she has lots of events in summer out of town, so we have to be careful about her availability. And then I sent email to, I think Carrie is her name, in library. And she typically responds pretty quickly. I didn't get any response in a week, so I'm going to follow up. Perhaps I'll come to the library in person to set up a date, essentially. What I was proposing that it would be 7 p.m. on a weekday. I think that excludes Friday because the library is not open on Friday at 7 p.m. So that means Monday through Thursday.
And that it not coincide with any important township meeting, but of course, council only meets once a month in July and August.
Right. I will consider that when I receive the available dates. I will cross-check with the township calendar, yes.
Doesn't meet in July and August.
So you want to look into the council, right, meetings? What else?
Yeah, council meetings, which would be only the second Tuesday of the month. They don't have the second one in July and August. And
Open space mentioning?
open space will not meet at all July and August.
Planning board?
Planning board will still be meeting first and third Wednesdays.
Is it 7?
That's at 7:30.
Okay, so that would be, okay. Would you call it a conflict? Or planning and zoning boards? Or it can be just, the audience may not be the same, right?
No. There's some very interesting people.
Planning board, we get 200 to 300 people in each session.
Although we are, in our resolution, we said that we want to give the watershed partnership notice about what is the planning zoning board doing.
Right.
So maybe we could take it as a invitation for the planning or zoning board members to attend the presentation.
That's why you have to look at the schedule and see that it's not
That's
conflict.
why it'd be better to do it outside of the planning and zoning board
Right.
meetings. So when we have the date and a flyer, I would circulate it with Ted. Ted, you could disseminate it to planning board, kind of personalized way as opposed to us sending them general formalities.
Esther, I have a question.
Yes.
What's the target audience? You mentioned planning board is for,
Well, I was just speaking out, as my ideas came up, I would be glad if someone from planning zoning board would
for
come.
them?
Right.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking about it before. But other than that, I would just say general audience. Well, originally, I was proposing that it would be us. So I would definitely,
It's like a workshop.
so, Heather is going to talk about what they do as an organization, and she's going to talk about the pathogen monitoring as well. Lately, they released, the Watershed Partnership released the information that there were no pathogens after many months of monitoring in Lower America, which was unusual. The good news, obviously, right?
So I'm just trying to read what she was saying. I'm thinking that we could start with big picture stormwater management and water quality issues and the great value in thinking regionally from a watershed level about environmental issues and then zero in on specific approaches, tactics. Right.
You're going to push about a stormwater utility, that's something that they would want to know about.
Right, so we could,
Discuss that as well.
There's a
She's not.
webinar coming up on stormwater and utilities.
I mean, I saw
I think it's
that.
Anjek. I'm having some computer problems.
so Dini Checo from Anjak, she's on the board with Watershed
Yeah, right,
Partnership,
right.
so
Yeah,
there are strong ties.
right.
Dini contacted me because she's looking to buy electric cars, so we are on.
Okay. So that's,
So, just to wrap up, so this is what we are planning. Hopefully this will happen sometimes in summer. I will be out of country in the second half of July. Hopefully that's not going to impact our timing or scheduling.
we got a meeting on July 10th, and then the next one will be the 24th.
I'm going to miss the 24th.
We're not meeting the 3rd right now.
No,
Why not?
We're not meeting the third Monday.
we'll do it in 2 weeks, yeah.
Oh, I meant we're not meeting July 3rd.
No, we're only July, that's silly thing, to be July 3rd.
But what's wrong with July?
It's a holiday.
No, the weekend.
July 4th is a holiday.
That's a Tuesday.
Anyway, I
The
think.
chair says July 10th, July.
The public is, announcement is 10.
Right, that's what-
We voted, we discussed.
Right, we did,
Okay,
we
so,
did.
other discussion. So, I think that's about our commission.
Right.
you need anything from me?
Oh, okay.
No, I think,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so, we've completed the committee reports, and then, no hot topics, I don't think. Old business was just, the health assessment, which Tara does,
Tara,
and
yeah.
she's not here. And then the other one was listed as no mow after Earth Day proposal. And that was,
Yeah,
you.
No, we were just thinking about how to rename it. I had some idea, well, I should give credit to Robin. She texted me some ideas. I would rather wait when she's here, because we didn't finish the thinking.
Okay.
But we cannot call it No More May, because it's not happening in May.
Right, right.
Okay.
It sounds good, but you're not doing
We
it.
cannot call it No More Earth Day, because linguistically, it's just like, you cannot say no and then Earth Day, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, no more Earth Day, kind of, but not no more May.
so, but we lost another year, so it's not urgent. But it goes along the line of sustainable lawn maintenance, right? So in spring we want to have the campaign on not to mow immediately, right? In fall we want to have leave the leaves, some of them, of course, you don't want to suffocate the lawn and stuff. And something along the lines, we want to have a campaign to not use chemicals. Because essentially, if you want to promote pollinators with the diversity of your lawn, you just cannot use chemicals.
I have some lovely little white flowers that come up early in the spring.
We have those
You
too.
know,
We are all the
If you
good
look
people
really
here,
close,
right?
they're actually like a really pale pink, if you look really, really close.
no, that's a different one. Those are spring beauties.
We get both then. We get the little violets that you can eat.
So yeah, we need to keep educating public about the benefits of, or maybe detriments of the existing lawn care policies. No, show them what is better way,
Well, I think they're gonna need education too, because about the transition period from going from a chemically sprayed environment to a chemical-free environment. There is a period of like mayhem in the middle there that I like to, I saw it once in a documentary, and I like the analogy. It's like your property's a crack addict and it's going through rehab. It's true, because the soil becomes so like just addicted to being fertilized and sprayed and fertilized and sprayed, as opposed to just letting it kind of get to a place of like
Right.
balance and health.
Because you cannot buy seeds for the other non-turf grasses, or I shouldn't say grasses, but, I mean, can you buy clover seeds?
You can get,
Yeah?
I have a grass
Maybe
disc
like
that's it's like bee-friendly grass mix, and so there's clover in there, and there's some like little things in there, but there's also like butterfly friendly. You can get, if you go to like organic seed providers, you can find clover mix.
Yeah.
And those are a lot of places that want to create like good pasture, right? Think about how many, I mean, there's some animals, you don't want them to have clover like cattle, but, horses, goats, sheep, yeah, they love the clover.
Yeah, well,
It's their favorite.
yeah, we typically have those, but I think we digress.
No, but I'm saying like, if you're looking for grass seed that has clover mixture into it, you want to look places where people who are buying pasture are going to go.
Yeah, okay, maybe we can have an article on that in the future.
Okay, we've done that. I just want to read you what it says here about public comment. And this is what's on our agenda. It says the meetings will be open to the public to provide time for comments and/or questions related to the agenda.
Also, it's there already.
That's exactly what it's right here.
But we don't do that.
But now it's
Now we have to do it. Now we voted on it, so now we have to do
That's
it.
what it says.
now it's working out.
Okay. So, Bill, do you have any questions before I ask for a vote?
We have to
Okay.
open.
You have to open in the
Right,
public.
open to the public.
But before we do so, Paul, I would like to ask you
Yes.
to give us the status on the highly anticipated solar roof rack at Canal Walk.
The solar roof rack proposal was put to the community. We have 1,251 units, and we needed 834 yeses. We got 498 yeses and 497 noes. So we're not gonna do it. We were gonna spend $1.5 million. The objections were, they didn't like us borrowing money from the reserve fund, which was gonna get paid back, half of it in the first year, and all of it in 7.2 years. They didn't like the aesthetics of a Kenneth parking lot. These are why people voted no.
For aesthetic.
This is the parking areas?
Yes, it was gonna be, we're both, we're gonna do parking areas, we're gonna do a roof on the little clubhouse, and we're gonna do ground arrays on 2 of the pumping stations. And it was $1.5 million, and I'm not gonna do it. We tried, I made 2 presentations.
Really not that much money,
It's not.
considering what you're doing.
But
I know it's not.
let me tell you something, I asked on purpose.
I figured you did,
Because last week I participated in RideWise EV Coalition webinar, and I was talking about the EV safety and life cycle assessment. And one person from the audience who represented Canal Walk, he was asking about safety and fires, essentially. From my kind of biased look, he was seeking some excuses not to do it. So I'm curious whether Canal Walk will at least have charging stations. But then when I was kind of elaborating on my answer, I told him I congratulate Canal Walk on putting the solar, and then he told me, no, it was ruled out.
So, the problem with the charging, not the problem, because I have my own house, and many of us do, and the people with Teslas and Volts and whatever, they're charging in their garages.
Yeah.
So they don't need it. Now, the enclave, which is the apartment houses, they're trying to figure out how to do this. And they may get there eventually. But at this point, because it's a common garage, but each apartment has its own meter, they're not quite sure how to do this. And they're trying to figure that out. But
And I guess the parking spots aren't,
the parking spots are all, well, everybody has their own parking space in the garage. The garages are under the building, under each of, 11 buildings.
I wonder if there's a way they can do it where there's an outlet at each parking spot.
But to
And
run,
you have to-
they've looked at running wires, it's very expensive.
Even externally?
Externally, they don't have a lot of ground to do that. I think that's a possibility, and that's what they're looking at, because in some areas of the enclave, there are townhouses instead of the multi-story ones. And in the townhouse areas, but then they have their own garages in the townhouses, so they could get charges.
Well, what I was gonna say is, I wonder if there's a way to put in like a passcode or something, and then when you put in your code, it automatically bills it to you.
Yeah, that can be done, but they're still, they're also worried about the cost of the installation and running the wires. They have their own budgets. I mean, they're part of us, but they pay 50% more maintenance fees. We pay $310, they pay $465.
Do any of the EV, like, community programs or any of the car companies put money towards
The state,
charging
the
stations?
state has subsidies.
The state has, like,
Yeah, the state has subsidies.
there is a BPU, utility will give you money.
So then what's the cost shouldn't be a concern then?
That's what I'm telling you.
Remember that the BPU didn't advertise a program where
Multi-unit one, yeah.
multi-unit development, existing multi-unit developments could get a grant to put in charging stations.
There you go.
And some of our, I'm trying to remember who it was, but some of our multi-unit developments did.
On Route 27, yes, a few of them.
Yeah,
And they got it approved, pretty much everybody who asked got the money.
Yeah,
yeah.
because that's what I'm saying, money should be like, that's like a bullshit.
I don't have any experience.
The investment, the Inflation Reduction Act, it put extra money into the individual states and,
I know other people that, if they didn't vote, it was a no vote. And some of the people that didn't vote were in the enclave section, that didn't feel it was gonna benefit them enough that they didn't care. And I made 2 presentations on Zoom, we had
This
the
is the same
slide.
community that is complaining about the warehouse being built next to them.
Well, the people that complained about the warehouse, those all have, there's a whole bunch of Teslas in that section. Those houses, they started at 600 and something, and some of them went for over 700,000. And there's multi-Teslas in that section. What can I tell you?
All right,
So-
I move that we open to the public.
Second?
Comment only.
Yes. Would you like to make a comment?
No, I can't make a comment. I don't like that idea. I feel like this is one organization where I can ask questions and get some knowledge, so I have a question, I have nothing of a comment. Can I ask a question?
Questions are fine.
Yeah, but you still get 3 minutes.
So what's the difference can you have a solar ready and a green roof at the same time?
The different parts of the same roof.
Now we have to say that at some point, we conclude your opportunity to speak and then we answer. So that we don't go back and forth.
See, I feel like the back and forth is something you stay till the end of the meeting.
Well, she says the end of the meeting.
No, this is public session.
Oh.
The end of the meeting would be after adjournment. To then have a conversation.
Yeah, but see, the public comments is all, they go into the minutes, and there's a record of what was said. If you do it after adjournment, then it's not on the record.
Right, but you're just looking to gain knowledge, correct?
Well, that's part of what we do is a regulated, we're not like our committee. We're
Like
a
ODIT?
statutory.
Okay, yeah.
So, well then, we just voted on a structure.
We do.
So then we need to keep to the
You got 3
structure.
minutes up, okay?
Yeah, you're using short for 3 minutes.
You used a lot of profanity.
That's what I told you happened.
And there was a big thing at the town council meeting about this.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
About public
Somebody
session.
not being allowed to talk all the time. Anyway,
It's for a reason.
So,
but they felt that their rights were being taken away. Anyway, okay, I don't know. Then I'll wait till after the session for that to be answered.
I mean, there's always, we have our email address, how many times do I say there's no email? People could send an email and ask a question, and that's something we could answer in the meeting. There's plenty of ways to reach out and talk to the group. Public session has a purpose, and I think we're turning it into something other than that purpose.
I disagree. I think the public session is for public comments.
I think the
Well, so there's comment, not to say, hey, what does this mean, how does this work?
Also an educational group. And the answers are for education of the public.
Well,
That's part of our charge.
I don't know what to tell you, Paul, we voted.
Anyway, so we'll have motion to close the session, the public session.
Second?
I have something to say.
Good.
You guys don't spend any tax money, right?
No.
So you're not bound by the Open Public Meetings Act. So you don't have to have a public session at all.
Really?
Really?
And we don't even know.
It's always been part of the new
I
agenda.
understand Mayor Kramer, and I would agree with his.
Well,
I like to have
actually,
everything open and transparent, but technically, you guys aren't bound by OPMA, so.
well,
That's what I'm saying, it's
technically, we
just
do
me.
spend some tax money, our membership in ANZAC, and when we give out plaques.
But do you spend it, or does the council spend it?
We have a budget.
We have a budget,
You have a budget, and someone cuts a check from the
Yeah.
environmental commission?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I'm wrong.
Yep.
I stand corrected.
But if we ask for a larger budget to get us like a shirt or business card or whatever else.
We can get it.
No,
Not the
because it
time.
doesn't exist.
Yeah, we
No one
could ask.
for that.
I was thinking we should just buy our own business cards.
Mr. Prince really cheap.
Yes.
But still, there is no budget for it.
That was one laboratory staff.
Well, I have to say, I agree. I'm all for open meetings and public information, but you guys sometimes get out of control of these sessions. You get on all these different tangents, and you lose, the meeting gets just way longer than it should be. And that's not good for anybody. So I kind of agree that you need to, the council does it, the council will say 3 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever. I think it's 5 minutes for an ordinance, for a public hearing on an ordinance. The school board does it, limits talk, and the school board will wait until everybody talks, and then either the board president or the school superintendent will answer the questions, and there's no back and forth. And planning board, the chairman just a few years ago instituted that first public session to talk about general planning topics, and then of course during the hearings you have a public session when the time comes. But that hasn't been a very long time. That's been in the past 3-4 years, I think, that Michael instituted. But he tries to keep the time, and I think you have to, because you have to keep control of the meeting. I mean, it's good. You have to have public input. Absolutely, people need to express their opinions and their views, but you can't just have 3-hour, 4-hour meetings. That's not healthy for anybody, because your brain stops processing things at a certain point.
I know all of us are retired.
And you get tired, and you guys are volunteers. You have families.
I've made one comment about council meetings. Who can stop Bob Warlock?
Not too many.
And for that matter,
He talks during the council comments, so there's no limit on the council comments, they can go on and on.
yeah. No, what I mean is that sometimes a member of the public asks a question and he jumps in with the answer.
Yes, he does.
Well, we have to.
Usually at regular meetings.
That happens exactly here. That's exactly what happened. And it's not somebody who...
We're doing it right now.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
This is the last time.
But when council, you ask question, and there is a silence. They don't answer, and then you stay, you wait, maybe they will answer later. No, they don't answer.
No, they do, they'll answer later. A lot of people don't stay to hear their answer, but they do.
Okay.
Yeah, you council members can't really answer at the time, and, yeah, an awful lot of people, they'll speak in the public session, then they'll leave.
I do wait.
And so you
We have
can
plenty of
reply.
means for people to, we never have any emails. People could ask questions in emails and we would answer them.
Yeah.
When we do, that's our correspondence.
Okay. Motion to close the public session.
Motion to
Second.
close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
You as